You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
This is 87.9 WKMU.
Staten Island, New York.
Hey everybody, this is Sky at 87.9 WKMU, and we're going back into the spooky things, the things that keep us up at night. And as always, I'm joined in by...
Blue. Hey, y'all.
Isn't it weird I always forget your name every week?
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll remember it next week.
Maybe.
I hope so. And then this week, you want to introduce them?
Yeah, I was going to say,
so
if you're a loyal listener, we're going to be we're going to be revisiting one of our favorite topics, actually one of our first topics, the JFK. Did Lee Harvey Oswald do it?
Did he do it alone?
Was
it a conspiracy? Oh, this is also a cross discussions episode because we're going
to be cross discussing this with our fellow podcaster, the Lone Gunman.
Hi guys, it's Rob from the Lone Gunman podcast.
So how long?
Pleasure to be on with you.
This is actually our fourth. Hold on, I think I squeaked. I think this is our fourth interview. We did Bitches with Beards. We did Jerry Cook. Terranormal. So we had one podcast, one writer, and one YouTuber. So now we're going back around.
Yeah. So it might seem random why we would have invited Lone Gunman to this JFK episut.
His name is Rob.
Yes. I'm sorry. I think I like that name a lot.
So do I.
And we use Gunman, I swear.
Well, how old are you now? I don't think you're old enough. I don't even think you were alive.
No.
All right. I'll use.
Back then.
I'm a fetus. So, how did you get into the podcasting, and why did you pick the JFK?
Well, I tell you, I've always been interested in it. I've been researching for like 35 years into this case, and I met a guy online, became friends with him on Facebook and in one of these JFK groups, and this was like 10 years ago. And I don't have many people in my real life that I can talk to about stuff like this.
So, Rob, why would anyone want to kill the president? I guess that's a broad
lot of
question.
Reasons.
Yeah.
He had a lot of enemies back then, ranging from anywhere from the mafia, for one.
Yeah. The mafia helped him get into office, and then he kind of turned his back on him, started going after him.
Oh.
After the mafia, after they helped him get him into office.
Oh.
Yeah, so there you have one. And then you have the CIA, who he didn't like them having all the autonomy to do whatever they wanted. He wanted a little more control over what the CIA was doing overseas and trying to disrupt, because JFK was all about peace. He wasn't about war. Yeah. So he was trying to take the more diplomatic approach to things. And you got the CIA assassinating these foreign leaders in these countries and doing these overthrows of governments, and you have the Joint Chiefs of Staff wanting to go to war all the time, and he didn't want to do that.
So JFK was like a nice dude, and
he was definitely a man of the people.
But he also used some people.
Well, to get into power, I feel like you would have to be a little manipulative and using people.
That's true.
But have you heard about there's been talk that both JFK and Marilyn Monroe were killed because they knew about the aliens, the UFO crashings, saying there's one from Roswell and others. Have you heard any of these rumblings that they were killed off because of the alien connection?
Not because of the alien connection, but because they were all screwing each other. Yeah, so it's been a while since I looked into this because in this whole JFK community, people tend to look sideways at you when you mention the words UFO, right, and aliens.
Yeah, anywhere, trust me.
Yeah, but there is documents, CIA documents, and they're dated. I think I've seen two of them. and I think they're dated a week or two before the assassination, in which President Kennedy is writing a letter to the head of the CIA,
which we established he
asking
can't
them,
stand.
asking them about UFOs. Are they real? Are they ours? Are they Russia's? Is this an alien thing?
Yeah.
And he was like, I want all information on UFOs. He wanted to be briefed. He was asking to be briefed about it.
Uh-huh.
And this was like a week or two before the assassination.
And no president ever asked about it again.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like Trump probably asked.
Carter, there's actually a story about Carter that he asked about it, and it was the last time anyone told him because he had a breakdown. Basically, he asked if there was any aliens. He's a very religious man.
He's like, aliens are like Santa Claus. They watch you while
Did
you're
he
sleeping.
say he saw a UFO?
Yeah, Carter before he became president actually stated that he saw a UFO before. So he was interested to know what we knew, and the story goes that he asked, and he was told that humans are a byproduct of alien people. That's why there's no missing link, because the missing link's not from here. And that a reason why we're so different than the rest of the things is that the old stories of I don't know if you know anything about Mesopotamia, but they believe that Anunnaki and they were basically spawn of aliens and what we consider humans, with like Neanderthals and stuff like that, and that we're just basically a science experiment to build labor. And Carter didn't like that too much, and he just
I'm
freaked
fucking
out.
sobbing right now.
Were
What?
angels, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's what the whole old text. We have an episode on older UFO
like the
stuff.
Nephilim and all that.
Yeah, even you can find UFO stuff in every culture, whether it be Native Americans, India, Middle East. There's definitely like sky battles. Do you actually believe in aliens yourself, or do you think it's just like people just seeing shit?
No, I do. I think there's something to it. I don't know what it is, if they're interdimensional beings. I don't know if they're, when you call it extraterrestrial, because I'm not 100% convinced that we know, and you might think I'm crazy, but I don't know that I necessarily believe in a flat earth, but I'm intrigued by the
there's no flat Earth.
Preposition of it.
I saw clouds over the horizon.
Extra land beyond the ice walls. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Yeah, I sort of get what you're saying, because I definitely believe that aliens aren't necessarily aliens. There is a small part of me that believes the aliens are Atlanteans. And they're island
a very advanced race from somewhere, here or there.
They're in the water, bro. Because if you notice, all these UFOs disappear in water recently, and I don't think some of the older stories that we have, actually, we covered a UFO story from the 1800s, and they were talking about these bright lights that would fly from Boston and the middle of nowhere in like seconds, and then when they went to chase it down, it disappeared into the water. So I think there's a strong possibility that the aliens are just like, not, I won't say lizard people, but they're definitely some kind of people that we're probably related to, and they were just like, you know what, y'all are too scary. You all want to fight about everything, and we're going to disappear. And one of the theories is that they're hiding out in Antarctica because there's only 3 worldwide agreements. One is generally has to do with nuclear arms. You can only have certain many this and that. One has to do with the moon. Certain countries can't do certain things on the moon. Antarctica. Nobody can visit Antarctica. Nobody is allowed. Why?
I thought that was a safety thing.
No. Because safety what? There's people die every year walking up Mount Everest. Like, if they were really worried about people's, well-being, that's not the human spirit. The human spirit is to look at every corner that we can find to see what's there. But we're not allowed to look around Antarctica.
Yeah, people used to explore it. Admiral Byrd and all his expeditions.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. Admiral Byrd was actually World War II, and he said that he saw, like, he was brought in. Basically, his ship was, like, pulled in by some kind of tractor. And these aliens told him, we don't like what you're doing with nuclear weapons. We feel like you're gonna be disastrous. And he went back and he started talking about it, but the press cut him off. Says nope, don't talk about it. The government says don't talk about it. Don't even ask him about it. No one's supposed to know about this. And he says that there's even the Nazis could have been there.
Long.
Yeah, some of his stuff is far fetched, but some of it kind of like makes sense at the same time too. We don't have any clear Google Earth pictures of Antarctica. I've checked; they're very blurry, which makes no sense to me. We can see everywhere in this world. Did you tell me Antarctica is blurry? There's a moon app. You can see the moon.
Photos,
Yeah,
You guys are freaking me out.
There's a Google Moon. You could see, but there's even some parts of Moon that don't have high resolution things, and that's what they're saying is the secret
I don't think
bases.
we've ever been to the moon either. To be honest with you.
Now you lost me.
Really?
I think there's too much evidence to say that we were there. The cost of MythBusters also did an episode of this. It would have cost billions of dollars just to fake the moon landing itself. There's actually a reflector dish, so if you shoot a laser that's strong enough at the moon, it will reflect it back to you. That's how you know that we've been there. Well, I never thought about it like that.
What?
He's saying like humans didn't have to. No one said humans put it there. Maybe we're just saying we put it there so we can be like, look, we were there. We proved it.
Is the moon a spaceship? Is that what you're saying? Like an alien spaceship?
Well, the moon is, first of all, it's weird because they hit the moon and it trembled for like 24 hours. Like it seems
rang
hollow,
like a bell.
Like a bell. It's very weird. I still think the moon was broken off piece of Earth from, I think Mars hit us or some shit. I think a planet's hit us, and then that's what made the asteroid field. And that's what made Mars, because Mars is a piece of us, and the moon. And that we were much bigger at one time. But I think, like, if you ever notice too, there's a planet. I think it's Neptune that's out of alignment. It doesn't go in a complete circle. It goes on an oval and crosses other people's paths, like it was knocked into that. So I think Neptune's crashed into Earth at one time, and we were further out, and it split us up into a couple different things: Mars, the moon, and Earth.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know. I'm weird. I like to think about things. Doesn't mean it's true. I just like to think about it. Let's see what's on my list.
I think because I still believe all the planets are round and stuff. So how could they break off each other?
Earth is not even round. Earth is actually egg shaped, and it bulges at the. It's not even egg shaped.
All the NASA photographs are faked of it.
Yes, NASA fakes everything. The Mars photos that you see from Mars, they tint them orange. But their atmosphere actually looks blue like Earth's.
Right, I heard about that one.
And the way you can do this is you can find out because you put it into Paint, Microsoft Paint, and they have like a decoloring agent, like so it reverses effects. And someone did it on pictures of Mars, and Mars has a light blue atmosphere just like us.
And Sky, guess what? They
faked
the moon landing too.
I mean, Kennedy would have done that, no?
You know what's funny about what you're saying, though?
Richard Nixon on a freaking landline telephone talking to the astronauts on the moon. Come on, man.
Nah, yeah, and then we saw, like, SpaceX or some shit. They were sending a rocket into space, and we were watching that video, and then the rocket started spinning out, and we're like, wait, what's going on? Everybody's cheering and stuff, but the spaceship is spinning out. We're like, what's going on? And I wonder, that's Elon Musk trying to get into space, and even he can't do it. It's like, I don't know. It's just a little bit of a theory that supports what he's saying.
That kind of makes sense because some people believe
like
that
they just can't literally.
Some
can't
people
make it
believe
out.
there's like an atmosphere. Yes, there's an atmosphere, but there's another like round thing blocking us.
It makes sense. Like, I don't know. I feel like the world would have that. All these layers, just how like we have all these layers of skin and stuff like that. Like,
you
I don't
even
know.
see them faking like the space station shit. Like our satellites even real? Is
I
the
saw-
space station even real?
So I saw a friend of mine. They used to show me videos of like all these astronauts in the spaceships. And they're like, oh, this is totally fake because they'll be like, oh, look, I'm floating. But they won't show that one, you have one leg on the ground and the other leg is like, ooh, I'm floating.
We usually
and
do,
like,
yeah.
how like they could just put you in a spaceship and then flip you around a few times and it looks like, oh, look, I can't use my toothpaste because You know,
Oh, you're
whatever,
talking about the
whatever.
plane that if it flies straight up and then comes straight down, you're suspended for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, but there's also like machines that you get in and it flips you and stuff, and it looks like, oh, I'm floating now, like I'm in space.
Yeah, just
It's like
like
a space
David
simulator.
Copperfield going across the stage. It looks like he's flying, but he's not. You know what I'm saying? It's all.
I don't know that
wires.
So do you
reference, but
do you
probably.
think we never went to space then?
Sorry,
No,
Not even space.
I don't.
there's like no solid proof for him, I guess.
I mean, there are satellites over there
we may have been
because
up- we may have went up-
GPS,
GPS
telephones.
is land based. It's not from satellites.
Aren't they trained? Oh, you're right. That's GPS.
I guess because I can't use my phone on
Cell
an airplane.
towers.
That does kind of make sense. I'm not saying I say that it's fake or anything, but I definitely like to explore the possibilities. And so
There's a
for
lot of
you to
shit that
say
doesn't
that,
make sense,
I'm
you know?
gonna
It's
try to
like-
put myself in your shoes and see your perspective on it.
To get back to what you were asking me about before, all of JFK's enemies. I mean, you got the Federal Reserve. He was trying to get away from the Federal Reserve dependency and back money with silver and gold again. And then you also have the anti-Castro Cuban exiles.
You'll remember that from
who-
the Titanic episode.
Mhm.
They started the Federal Reserve around 1914, and it was all the people. They knew they were going to war. They were giving out money because they knew they wouldn't get that money back when wartime came. And there was actually some conspiracy theories on the Titanic itself. It was sank because it had a bunch of proponents of the Federal Reserve on it, and it was sunk to get rid of them. I don't believe that one, but it's also a fun one.
I don't know that one. Yeah, you said it well. You
But
said it very well.
do you think that
Was it really that Titanic that sank, or was it the sister ship called, what was it? The
Lusitania.
Britannica?
Yeah, there's actually if you look at the pictures, there actually there are differences from portholes and stuff like that. I looked into that.
Right.
It was a fun one, but the one that seems to be true is that there was a fire underneath the deck before they even left port,
Yep.
and that tremendously helped sink the ship.
Yep, I think that one too.
But do you think Lee Harvey fired the shots at Kennedy?
I do not. I do not think he was the one up there.
Yeah, that's what we were
You
saying.
don't think that
We
he
were
was
saying
there at all, or
Well, he was in the building, but I don't think he was in the sniper's nest.
yeah.
What about you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I just think at best he may have been coerced into bringing that rifle into the building for whatever reason.
Oh, we talking about the story where he had curtain rods he was bringing in for some reason the same morning?
Oh.
Yeah, he told his coworker that he had curtain rods, but he supposedly had this rifle. But the thing about the rifle is it was mail ordered. So like back then you could order a rifle through the mail. You didn't have to go to the gun shop and you didn't have to wait 7 days or whatever. It was a lot easier to get firearms back then. You could just open a magazine and clip out the thing and send them a check, and then they'd send you a gun. So,
Oh shit,
Yeah,
that
but
is
doesn't-
really cool.
But doesn't
I
that
didn't know
lead
that.
to maybe what's the word when you plant evidence against somebody else? Because couldn't I order a gun in your fake name and then make it seem like you ordered it? Because this is 1963.
gosh, yeah.
It's Texas. It's like
Right.
no problem to walk into any store. You don't need ID. You probably get like free soda and a refill of gas by buying a gun. So like it struck me weird that he would order a gun by mail when he could have just went in and gave a fake name, no nothing, just like right here, like not even in the same city.
Well, he ordered the rifle through the mail using a fake name. So the name he used was Alec Heidel. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. So in theory, okay, when Oswald was in New Orleans in the summer of 1963, a couple months before the assassination took place, he was handing out literature and arguing with people, and he was handing out pro-Castro literature, pro-Cuba.
Yeah,
And
Wait,
I remember
Lee
quite-
Harvey
pissing
Oswald?
Yeah.
off.
I remember he was doing
Yeah.
quite boisterous too, like he wanted to be seen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was pissing off a lot of these Cuban exiles that were in New Orleans and making a big scene. He got in a fight. He got arrested. He went on TV and did a debate with one of them. He went on the radio. He made a big deal out of this stuff. He was standing in the street and hand these flyers out that said "Hands off Cuba," this and that, and he was trying to form a chapter of Fair Play for Cuba Committee, which was, it was a nationwide thing that had different chapters in big cities, like New York and Miami, stuff like that. But he was trying to form a chapter on his own volition in New Orleans because there wasn't one. So he was taking it upon himself to start this chapter, and it didn't have any members, okay, except him and this mysterious Alec Heidel person who was the president of the Fair Play for Cuba Committee in New Orleans.
So,
now it doesn't take.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
a
very
major
easy
detective to figure out that he is Alec Heidel.
Yeah, but
to get back to that rifle,
if you went,
right?
But at the same time, if I'm government officials, I know that your name is Alec Heidel, that you used it. It wouldn't take much for somebody to forge the name Alec Heidel and order a rifle to plant it to look like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, but they would have to know that was linked to Lee Harvey. No.
Well, if you're in the government, there's a couple.
They're trying to pin it on Lee Harvey Oswald. So if it was somebody using his fake name, they would have to have known him. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's why it circles back.
You don't think the CIA knows that Heidel was actually Oswald?
I think, because what I personally think is, maybe I can ask Rob too, is Ruth Payne. I feel like Ruth Payne set Lee Harvey Oswald up. Like, I really feel like she set it all up.
Yeah,
got
with
him
her
the job.
CIA connections and
maybe
everything.
He was the one who used his fake name.
That's what I'm
friend
saying.
That he's like,
Like,
oh, my
she knew
friend
him
said that, I'm sneaking this in for my friend. Like, I really.
That's why I always
it's
thought
like
the gun was
weird.
weird. Like, because anybody who knew that he was the one who did that, and people in the CIA would have known that because they were keeping tabs on him. And there's even evidence that he was either part of the CIA or FBI.
Who, Lee Harvey?
Yeah. Or at some level.
It wouldn't work if he was part of CIA and they were, the CIA turned on him?
Well, if the CIA wants to kill JFK, they would use one of their operatives. That could have been Lee Harvey Oswald.
The thing with him that kind of ties him to the CIA is that in 1959, as soon as he got out of the Marine Corps, he defected to Russia. And he went over there and lived there for 3 years and married a woman and had a kid over there.
Yeah.
And then he comes back in 1962 to America.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's here. He's got a Russian wife and a baby and another kid on the way. He had just had a baby a month before the assassination.
Right.
But did he also, while he was in Russia, though, didn't he get put into a nice, roomy flat with a balcony? Was he kind of taken care of? I don't know. Who takes care of American personnel?
Right.
I don't think the Russians. But why would they? If he was really a defector, he's a low-level defector.
Oh,
that's why I say the whole thing just seems like a story.
Yeah, I'm
because
blowing my mind.
He went over there. He basically partied, met all these different Russian chicks, impregnated one, and got this nice apartment. KGB's not doing stuff like that. They don't. They're trying to use you as a double spy. They're not gonna I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong because I wasn't around there.
KGB?
It's like the CIA of the Russians at the time, but they were less scruples. Well, I can't even say that because the CIA has been known to do some messed up things.
See, here's the thing about Marina, his wife, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So
who's still alive.
She's still alive. And when he met her over there, he was the third American defector that she met. He was the second American defector that she dated and had relations with, and he was the third defector that she actually ended up marrying.
So she sounds
somebody
was
putting this chick onto these American defectors, trying to figure out what they were about, are they legit, what's going on with them, and then he ends up, marrying her and knocking her up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and bringing her to America.
That's really blowing my mind. Because I know that people do that with drug dealers and stuff. They'll send this really pretty chick to hang out with the group. And so eventually somebody's going to cave because she's a pretty woman. And yeah. That's so
and
crazy.
And the FBI was actually really, really worried about the spouses of defectors when they were coming back because they figured that they were spies. So when you talk about the FBI and the CIA being interested in Lee Harvey Oswald after he came back, they were actually more interested in watching Marina and what the hell she was doing, as opposed to him, because they're thinking, okay, well, she got out of the country real easy. They got married real quick. Things like this doesn't add up, and they were definitely watching her more than they were watching him, actually.
Oh yeah, it sounds like she's a KGB operative herself.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
now I feel like she's in on it. Ruth Payne and her, like, I don't know. Like it's suspicious to me.
Do
Like
you?
these
Payne
women,
got him the
set him
job
up.
at the book depository building.
Yeah, like 6
That
months
was all
before, or
Ruth
2 months
Payne.
before, 3 months before, something like that. And she has family members
Yeah.
connected to the CIA, like her husband, her
That's what I'm
father, her
saying.
sister.
When I started researching
Yeah.
Ruth Payne, that's when I was like, wait, it really like flipped the script for me.
And then someone said they saw Ruth Payne's car at the spot where Kennedy was killed, and was like, "Oh, don't mess with that. That's Ruth Payne's car. You don't want to mess with her. She's not someone to mess with."
Right. Supposedly Lee Harvey Oswald said that in his interrogation. He was like, "That's Mrs. Payne's car. Don't bring her into this," or something like that.
Yeah. So
Huh.
I kind of want to move into this question. What is some of the most unnerving or doesn't make sense to you random killings or murders, assassinations, suicides? Well, let's just say deaths. There was some suspicious deaths after
Suspicious death.
the assassination. Which one for you sticks out more so than others?
Got to be David Ferry in New Orleans.
David Fair, yeah. He was the
And
guy
Guy
with the bushy
Bannister in New
brows
Orleans.
from the movie.
Which guy? What?
Guy Fieri.
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci played him in the movie.
Yo,
But
you guys are funny.
there was actually some connection that they might be all homosexual. Him, Clay, and Lee Harvey Oswald.
Actually, I heard about
and
this too. Yeah.
That's why they were like undercover, because they were like undercover, and they kept to themselves before.
There was a lot of homosexuality going on in
You could
New
say there was a lot of
Orleans
dick
back then.
sucking back then.
There was.
And so, what you're saying? It's calmed down since then? I doubt it.
So if you remember from the movie, that's when he went in to testify at the trial, and he called the guy into his room. Was like, "Yo, I'm not gonna make it. They're gonna kill me. I don't want to do this. Please don't make me do this. I'm not gonna." And he wound up. All right, maybe you should tell, because you probably know more of the details than I do, Rob.
Yeah, he was when Garrison went in to start re-investigating the Kennedy assassination. I think he started in like 1966, late 66, and Ferry was dead by like a couple months into 67, and Garrison knew he had something with Ferry because of his activities that day, that weekend, and his just weird shit that he was into, and all these connections and
that guy was played
witnesses.
by
People were dropping a dime
Two-Face.
on this guy all over the place, and they finally got him to talk, or they almost got him to talk, and he finally told him, he said, "Look, if I say what I know, they're gonna kill me."
And he was
they had
dead
him-
the next day.
Yeah, they had him put up in a hotel, it's kind of sequestered away until they could actually get him to talk. And he ended up leaving the hotel, going home, and then I think he was, murdered in his own bed. Well, he died in his own bed not too long after that, from apparent natural causes.
Yeah, supposedly. Hey everybody, this is Sky. Just cutting in real quick and let everybody know that this is a 2-part episode. It went much longer than I intended, and I guess we just had so many questions and we went on some tangents. But that's just how we are. So that's going to be it for this episode. The next episode should drop next week, maybe a little longer, depending on the scheduling coming out. So if you're listening to this, thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed it, and check out the next one. And as always, check in on your friends. And everyone deserves love, even you. You
You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
This is 87.9 WKMU.
Staten Island, New York.
Hey everybody, this is Sky, and this is 87.9 WKMU. In this Cross Discussions episode, part 2, we're going right back into the lone gunman talk and everything JFK coming right up. No aliens this time, but if you like aliens and you didn't listen to the first one, check out our connection between aliens and JFK. Thank you, everybody.
So, Rob, why would anyone want to kill the president? I guess that's a broad
lot of
question.
reasons.
Yeah.
He had a lot of enemies back then, ranging from anywhere from the mafia, for one.
Yeah. The mafia helped him get
kind of-
into office, and then he kind of turned his back on him, started going after him after the
Oh.
mafia, after they helped him
Exactly.
get him into office.
Oh.
Yeah, so there you have one. And then you have the CIA, who he didn't like them having all the autonomy to do whatever they wanted. He wanted a little more control over what the CIA was doing overseas and trying to disrupt, because JFK was all about peace. He wasn't about war.
Yeah.
So he was trying to take the more diplomatic approach to things. And you got the CIA assassinating these foreign leaders in these countries and doing these overthrows of governments. And, you have the Joint Chiefs of Staff, wanting to go to war all the time, and he didn't
Make
want
that
to do
money.
that.
So JFK was like a nice dude. And
He was definitely a man of the
but
people.
he also used some people.
Have you heard any of these rumblings that they were killed off because of the alien connection?
Not because of the alien connection, but because they were all screwing each other. And
Well,
they were all married. Well,
I-
except Marilyn, she wasn't married, but
Yeah.
the Kennedys definitely were.
well,
and-
she was eventually. She married Joe DiMaggio, right?
Yeah, and maybe and
Baseball
then
player.
There was another
Oh,
guy.
okay.
I can't remember his name, but I think it was a playwright, Arthur Miller. I think she married him for a little while too.
See, I think the CIA did it too, but to me, it's like, yeah, who cares if he doesn't like this or that, and he might restrict you, but you can still do what you want regardless. I like the alien aspect because I've actually saw a couple news articles that's why, because Marilyn Monroe died the same way not Ruth, because she's still alive. Hold on, let me check my notes because it's been a while since I said her name. The journalist, what's her name?
Wait, hold on. Can we just rewind real quick? You're saying that they could have possibly killed them because they were all screwing around? Like, is that what we were just saying?
That's what Rob said. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Because why is that such a big deal?
jealousy.
I guess back then it was like you had to be this like wife and
Well, if you're this big, powerful
Son,
person and you're
wife
sleeping
and
with this
husband.
woman, and then somebody else who you think is lower than you is sleeping with the same person, it's
so the
like,
wife got Jackie killed off Marilyn and John.
oh no, I don't think anybody's saying that.
That's
That
what
was
I'm
more
hearing
like,
right now. The
Well,
wife
she was
offed
sleeping
everyone.
with JFK first, and then he became president, and RFK kind of intervened. It was like, yeah, you can't sleep with him anymore, but I'll do you.
Oh my god.
At least it's still
This
Kennedy.
is juicy. Yes, keep going.
Yeah, so, but you also have Marilyn Monroe tied in with all these other mafioso types, and Frank Sinatra and Sam Giancana and all of RFK's buddies. And they thought that she kept this diary, and they thought that maybe the Kennedys had been telling her some pillow talk, maybe telling her some things that they shouldn't have been telling her.
So you think there's a correlation
And-
between Marilyn Monroe, JFK, and Robert Kennedy's assassinations and apparent suicides?
I don't think they're all connected in that aspect of it, but I think for sure it didn't help any of their causes.
But do you think Lee Harvey fired the shots at Kennedy?
I do not. I do not think he was the one up there.
Yeah, that's what we were
You
saying.
don't think that
We
he
were-
was
he
there
was
at
there.
all, or
Well, he was in the building, but I don't think he was in the sniper's nest.
yeah?
What about you? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I just think at best he may have been coerced into bringing that rifle into the building for whatever reason.
Oh, we talking about
Um,
the story where he had curtain rods he was bringing in for some reason the same morning.
Oh,
Yeah, he told his coworker that he had curtain rods, but he supposedly had this rifle. But the thing about the rifle is it was mail ordered. So like back then, you could order a rifle through the mail.
Have you ever heard of Michael Groves?
No.
So Michael Groves is for me is one of my weirdest deaths. He was an honor guard who was in charge of presidential burials and stuff like that, funerals. About 4 days before the Kennedy was dead, Michael Groves was asked to train and get his people together and start practicing. That weekend after the president died, he performed the honor guard ceremony for Kennedy, and the next day he was home with his family, took a bite of his food, and had a heart attack and died on the table. He was saying that he was told beforehand to start prepping. So they wanted to ask him, well, why would you know beforehand to start doing this? Like, it wasn't like a random spot check. This was like, something's going to happen or something like that. You need to do this for us. And then in my research, I actually found out that the CIA has a dart gun that they shoot people with, and the dart gun actually dissolves. The dart dissolves, and it gives a person apparent heart attack. And people think I'm
heart attack gun.
yeah, and people think I'm lying about this, but this is a real gun made by because they actually had a trial, and they showed during the trial how the gun actually worked. So they had to bring it in. So there was so many people who died of heart attacks. This kid was 27. He just came. He's a military man, so he's in shape. He doesn't do anything like. As far as we know, he's in perfect health.
The COVID vaccine wasn't around back then. So.
Yes, I don't know what killed him. So that one's really weird for me. And then Dorothy.
Yeah,
Dorothy Killigan.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I have another one that I thought was weird, but yeah, Dorothy Kilgallen.
How do you pronounce that?
She got killed again.
Yeah.
Oh, in our one of our JFK episodes, we were doing funny like headlines like that, like Dorothy Killigan.
She was killed again.
Something weird, like I don't know, I forget. But yeah,
because she
was like a reporter.
She committed suicide. I'm using air quotes right now, but she committed suicide.
Yeah,
but
there
was
a
lot
reporter
of
who interviewed with Jack Ruby, who was the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Which, fun fact to all our listeners, is one of the first assassinations caught on camera. First homicides caught on TV. Like
broadcast on
first.
television.
Yeah, there you go. First broadcasting of a homicide.
Oh, Ruby.
Was Jack Ruby killing Lee Harvey Oswald. Isn't that crazy? Like, I know that I was born in the 1990s, but like to know that like all this cool stuff was happening on TV before me.
This is cool stuff.
It kind of is.
Did you see the president get shot? That's crazy. You don't see that on TV no more.
You don't see that on TV no more. You don't.
No, not in this country.
Yeah, there's no freedom of press. Oh, speaking of no freedom of press,
Yo, we crazy.
Do you think Dan Rathers was pressured to lie to the American people?
Absolutely.
Which one's Dan Rathers again?
He's an anchor, and he's one of the three people that I think that are alive. Why they haven't dropped all the JFK documents? Because they need everyone who was involved in any way to be dead, so there's no like comeback at them. And
right.
That's Dan Rathers. I think is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Ruth. What's her name?
Ruth Payne.
Payne and his wife's names again? Mariana.
Yeah, Marina.
Marina. Those three are still alive, so I think those are the three reasons why. But part of it is because of I feel like I just forgot what I was saying.
Dan Rathers wants to have a bunch of people. Witnesses.
I think he lied. I think you also think he lied too? What do you think he lied about?
Anybody that watched that Zapruder film, and
yes, that's what I brought up.
How do you spell that?
Him say what he said.
Zapruder.
Sorry, we cut him off.
Sorry, yeah, sorry. Zapruder.
Yeah, Zapruder. Yeah,
Yeah,
So
he went.
you he watched the Zapruder film. Apparently, this is before it was broadcast on national television.
Mhm.
This is not too long after it happened. But he's telling everybody in his news broadcast that the president was thrown violently forward from a shot from behind. But anybody who's ever watched that movie can see that doesn't happen at all. He
No,
was
his
thrown
hand slams
backwards
Back to the left.
violently.
back into the left.
Back
Yeah.
into the left.
And
Yeah.
he's just
So he
watched
definitely
it.
lied.
And I think
Yeah.
he was okay with lying about it because he was told that the movie was never going to surface again because Lifetime, I think, bought it. And because I
Yep.
think they digitally altered. There's a moment I've seen. I can't find it anymore. I swear to you. I swear to everybody listening. I saw a Zapruder film copy where a piece of the president's forehead broke off and flapped. And then when I watched it again, it didn't happen. You just saw his head slam back. So I don't know what I watched, but I swear to you, I saw this guy's little back flap open after he got
Yeah.
shot, and then a piece of it flew over the top of him and started going behind him.
Wait, so sorry, just to make sure I'm following correctly. So if Lee Harvey Oswald shot him, his head would have went back into the left, right?
No, it would have went forward
Forward.
Yeah.
because the
Oh,
shots
way.
from
Oh,
behind.
you're right. They turn.
Yeah.
So
So why people are saying it's significant is when you get shot from the front,
Mhm.
your head sort of slams backwards because of the impact exploding through the back of your head.
Right.
And even the doctors, let me get all their names down so I can remember.
Oh,
got
so we're
Hold on.
saying that.
You got Jenkins, you got Jones, and McClellan. They all described a gaping hole in the back of the head.
Mhm.
But on all the autopsy photos and the pictures and the drawings, his back of his skull is completely connected. And there's just like a small hole in the back of his head.
Yeah. Yeah. All
Wait,
the doctors
so-
at Parkland saw this
Okay.
big gaping wound in the back of his head. But
Doctors, they're professionals. They know
nobody
what they're
at
talking about.
Bethesda saw this,
The doctors are saying the shot would have been from the front,
Basically,
but everyone else, they're trying to cover it up and say that it was shot. He was shot from the back.
yeah. Actually, 3 days ago, I found out that a Secret Service member has memoirs coming out where he said he took a bullet out of the car and put it on the stretcher.
That's the new big news. Yeah. So if this guy if what he's saying is true, that he did, then this bullet that's been the magic bullet
The
for
magic
all these
bullet.
years,
I was just gonna talk
Okay.
about that actually in a second.
and it supposedly created 7 wounds in 2 people and came out looking pretty damn pristine
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
A
I
bullet
was
hit
just about to ask
anything. A
about
bullet could hit paper and it still kind of messes up a little bit.
Oh wait, okay, I'm confused
Maybe
now.
not that much, but you know what I mean.
Lee Harvey Oswald, if it was him, would have shot him from the back of the head
Up in on the right hand side, going
and it would have
downwards to
came
the left,
through his.
He would have been shooting from behind, yes.
and it would have been going on a little bit on the left side because of
So-
the angle that he was
Fuck.
at.
So if it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald, then who was it? It still came from the back, right? Because the guy. I'm confused now
Well-
because there was a dude who with the magic bullet. Can we explain the magic bullet?
Well, he just did it. It went through 7 different pieces of the body.
No,
came
no, no.
out.
I know what the magic bullet is. I'm saying if it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald, if it wasn't
Well, there's
the
a
back
couple.
of the head to the front of the car, from the back of the car to the front of the car, you know
Rob,
what I
what do you know about Rosco White?
Well, just real quick before we move on to Rosco White.
Mhm.
So to get back to the Secret Service agent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is important.
Okay.
Yes.
So if what he's saying is he found that bullet on the back ledge, okay, between the rear seat and the trunk. Okay? So
Mhm.
if that's where he found that bullet and then took it inside and put it on a stretcher, then that bullet went into JFK's back just a little bit. There's a small wound in his upper back, lower neck that really didn't they try to say that it penetrated all the way through to the front of his neck. But if it was a shallow wound and that bullet fell out of his back
Mhm.
and
It would have landed on
ended
the
up on
back.
that ledge back there,
Mhm.
then there is no magic bullet, and that changes everything because it just changes the
Yeah, 'cause
entire Warren Commission.
most witnesses
solution to
say-
this whole assassination, and there had to be other shooters.
Yeah, most witnesses say they heard 4 shots,
I
and one came
yeah.
from the Grassy Knoll.
And I think if
that
somebody's
was
really
that
gonna
was
try to assassinate the president, they would have multiple targets on him. Why would you rely on one thing? Multiple things could happen. That person could break their leg suddenly on their way over to kill them. You know what I mean? You're gonna hire more people. I
I
guess
don't know.
true.
So yeah, was that it on that point?
yeah.
Yeah.
So Roscoe White, yeah.
I,
That was such
I
a
love
weird
Roscoe White.
transition.
No, I'm gonna cut that out. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't more information before I cut him off. It's a weird way of being polite. I know.
Could I pee really quick? Is that okay?
Are you good for a pee break, Rob?
Just go back. Like we'll start
Yeah,
Roscoe
go ahead.
White. We'll start with Roscoe White.
Yo, Roscoe. I love the story of Roscoe White and his son. Oof.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
All right,
I'll
I'm
be
gonna
right
stop the
back, guys.
recording
I'm
now.
really sorry.
Everyone listening on the podcast, we'll be back in 2 seconds.
You'll probably cut this out, no?
So now we're going back to Rob and Roscoe White.
Roscoe White.
Yeah, good old Roscoe. So Roscoe White was in the Marines at the same time Oswald was. He was on the same boat that went over to Japan at the same time Oswald was, but apparently they didn't know each other. But they're both from Texas, okay? And the backyard photographs that kind of incriminated Oswald because he's standing there with a rifle and these communist papers.
Even though that gun was slightly different from the gun that they showed us too, by the way. On the bottom of the
people
gun,
kinda
it's
think-
latched, and then on the
Yeah,
the new gun is actually latched on the side instead of the bottom.
Exactly. Yep. But Roscoe White was a photographic expert. That's what he actually did for the Dallas Police Department. He worked in the photography department.
And he was hired
And-
6 months before the JFK assassination, and he left.
Not even that long.
Yeah,
Not
I think it
even
was like
that
2
long.
months,
It
and
was
then he left
3
like
months,
6
yeah.
months. Didn't he leave like 6 months after the assassination too?
Yeah, I think he left in 65.
So like a year and change, just enough to
Yeah.
keep your cover.
Right. Yeah. So people kind of think that it might be Roscoe White underneath the Oswald mask in the backyard photographs just because of the way he's standing. And he has this weird bump on his arm that's in the picture. And there's also a picture of Roscoe White standing the same way as the backyard photograph,
Yep.
which is a weird stance.
Yeah, that's
Kind
it.
of,
Yeah.
you know, that nobody really stands that way, you know, except certain people, I guess. But it's awfully weird. But the story goes, right, with Ricky White and his dad, Roscoe. Roscoe was killed in a welding explosion in the early 70s.
Supposedly.
What the fuck? That's such
Well,
a
he was
crazy way to
definitely-
go.
well, yeah, he was burned. He was burned like, you know, really, really bad. He died a couple days later in the hospital.
Oh my god.
Um, his boss died as well, who was standing next to him.
Oh my god.
Or pushed him.
Yeah. But apparently, Ricky White ended up finding this diary that Roscoe White had kept.
Yeah, Ricky is his son.
Yeah, Ricky. And apparently the FBI came and like stole it when he wasn't home and then never gave it back.
Basically said, "Oh no, we don't have it. Well, we never seen it before."
Right. And then Roscoe White's preacher had some kind of a hymn book, and as Roscoe was dying in the hospital, he was writing this stuff like in the hymn book, like a kill list or something that of these people that Roscoe White supposedly had taken care of. And then he found this weird message to go look in, I can't remember if it was his grandfather's attic or something, but he ended up finding this metal container in there that had these cablegrams in it, and they were to Mandarin, which is a code name.
Cablegrams are
And
basically the text message of the old days.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they kind of directed him to Dallas, directed him to get on the police force, and directed him to proceed with killing this threat to the United States, which people interpret as being JFK.
Yeah, people
And-
believe he's the person who was in the Grassy Knoll area taking shots.
Yeah, and I believe Beverly Oliver, the so-called babushka lady, I really don't think it was her,
Yeah,
but
Bobo
she
Shule.
said she ran up to the top of the knoll and said she saw Roscoe White back there. But
But you know, I remember watching the films of it's because it's not just Zapruder. There's a bunch of films of the not of the
yeah.
assassination, but like the before and after, and there was definitely a lot of running towards the grassy knoll. Like you would think,
Yeah.
and everybody was pointing towards. Nobody was pointing up at the building. Nobody was looking at the building like, "Hey, what's going on over there?"
Yeah.
Everyone ran to the grassy knoll and like jumped over there and tried to find people. And supposedly there was officers there telling people to go away, like they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm confused though. If Rosco White was a photographer, wouldn't he
Analyst.
be there?
He's a photography analyst. Like he can analyze
Oh,
photographs.
I
and
was
stuff
gonna
like that.
say, I'm like, wouldn't
Why
he
that's important
be
is
there
his story
taking
about
photos?
how there's pictures of Oswald with the gun.
Yeah.
Since he's an expert, he could have doctored them himself.
Right.
I'm like, oh look, this is Oswald, posing.
Or
with the...
also how JFK was shot from the back, but they're saying
evidence shows that it's from the front.
Right. Wait, hold
And
on.
the interesting thing is, Roscoe White, his widow, had a copy of the backyard photograph of a different pose that had ever been seen before. Which
he's talking about this. It's a
crazy.
Lifetime photo. I think it was Life magazine that showed it. And I see you. Don't worry, you're good. Lifetime. They put on there. They actually Lifetime is Life is actually the people who own the Zapruder film too. They're the one who kept it away for the government. They bought it and then kept under wraps for like 10 years to Rivaldo Rivera, who was like the talk show person of the day, like Jerry Springer, Oprah. Like he was the guy to do stories back then. Like he was an investigating reporter. But yeah,
and they ended up having to pay the Zapruder family $26 million for that film.
Yep, and they paid them a couple times too. They kept paying them more and more because they kept returning it, taking it back. There was like some kind of problem with it, but like I definitely think they altered it. So basically, like the Roscoe White thing is there could have been another killer. Some people say it's the New Orleans mafia that had sent a couple. Because I've actually found reports. Yeah, so I found reports from witnesses who said they saw Cuban-looking men in a window on the left side of the building, on the opposite side of where Lee Harvey Oswald was supposed to be, taking shots. And they saw two people. And why I think that is important is because when you're doing sniper things in the field, you have a spotter. So there's a guy behind you telling you, okay, it's getting in position, this blah, blah, here it goes, take it. So it would make sense there was two people at the window taking shots. But although those shots are so close anyway, but I don't know. But that's just how I see it.
Yeah, well, looking into all this stuff, I ran across this guy named Thomas Beckham. Have you ever heard of him?
No, actually.
Okay, so he was pretty much totally out of the picture for the Warren Commission investigation. He wasn't on their radar at all.
Most people weren't.
When Garrison did his investigation in New Orleans, this guy came up and he was actually subpoenaed to the New Orleans grand jury and was questioned by Garrison, but he didn't say much then. But they tracked this guy down for the HSCA investigation in the late 70s.
That's the assassination court, basically, right? They did a review of like
it was like the House of Representatives. It was called the House Select Committee on Assassination.
Yeah, there you go.
And they kind of reinvestigated everything, but they tracked this guy down, right? And when they interviewed him in 77 or 78, they gave him immunized testimony, which means no matter what you say, you're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah, it's basically for nowadays, the closest thing we have right now is this whistleblower, Grushk, who's saying that the government has UFO stuff. Before he went public with it, he was interviewed by the American government. Everything he said was approved beforehand to be allowed, because he's still technically part of the intelligence community. So it's like the same thing where it's like you're allowed to say this, this, and this, but don't say this. Am I getting that right?
Well, no. This guy could say anything he wanted, and he could say he pulled the trigger and killed Kennedy, and they couldn't do a damn thing about it. So whatever he said, he could not get in trouble for. So when they interviewed him in the late 70s, he told a much different story than he did at the Garrison grand jury. So he tells of a meeting between David Ferry, G. Ray Gill, who was a prominent New Orleans lawyer.
Fury's the other guy that was Joe Pesci was playing with the bushy eyebrows.
I actually had a
one
question
of
about those names.
Carlos Marcello's brothers or nephews or something was there as well.
For Carlos Marcello is the New Orleans Gambino. He's the boss of the New Orleans gangsters.
Yeah, Marcello, yep. And they had Beckham take this packet to Dallas to a guy named Lawrence Howard, who was an anti-Castro. He wasn't a Cuban exile, but he was a sympathizer. He was an American, but he would go on these raids to Cuba to try to kill Castro. He was a mercenary, basically. And he was part of this group called Interpen that was doing all this stuff back then, like mercenary work. And a lot of these mercenary groups worked for the CIA as cutouts, to do their dirty work for them, so the CIA wouldn't get their hands dirty. You know what I mean? So anyway, he tells of going to Dallas, meeting this guy in a car, and so he's looking through this package. He's like, is this it? Like where's the rest of it? And the guy's like, I don't know. That's all they gave me. And he said it was like pictures of buildings, maps, shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, Lawrence Howard, is connected to a couple of these other guys. And there was actually a rifle that had to have been found in Dealey Plaza, but it's not in anything. As far as
you're saying, there was another gun found at the plaza?
Yeah, there had to be, because there was a detective who owned a pawn shop in L.A., right? And Gerald Patrick Hemming and Lawrence Howard and this other guy, Lauren Hall, these anti-Castro mercenaries, they pawned a Johnson 30-06 rifle that had a 30 power scope on it. You could put a hole through a dime at 500 yards with this thing. It was used in the Bay of Pigs, and it was Jerry Hemming's rifle. So they pawned it, and they needed money to get back across the United States. Well, a couple months later, Lauren Hall, who is based in California, and Lawrence Howard is based in California, they go to the pawn shop, and they get this rifle out of hock in October of 1963. Okay?
A month before the assassination.
Yeah, a month before the assassination. And they go to Dallas with a trailer load of guns and drugs and all this shit. And they store it at this guy's house. And they come back and pick it up and then take it on to Florida, supposedly. Now, fast forward to the day after the assassination, November 23rd. The FBI, there's an FBI document, a report written by one of their agents in L.A. They went to this detective agency pawn shop place, right? And they started asking questions. Where is Roy Payne and where is Lauren Hall?
Roy Payne sounds like they're related to Ruth Payne.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Roy Payne worked at the pawn shop. Okay, so when this gun was in hock, while it was in the pawn shop, this guy Roy Payne, this rifle was such a badass sniper rifle, he would take it out and shoot it and play with it because it was so awesome,
He used Louis Harvey Oswald's name.
His fucking fingerprints are all over this rifle. Yeah. Lauren Hall's fingerprints are all over this rifle. And somehow, the day after the assassination, the FBI is knocking at this guy's door asking where these guys are.
How would they even know about them?
They had to find the rifle in Dealey Plaza.
Oh.
And one of the guys, like Lawrence Howard, who this guy had taken all this stuff to, one of his buddies from California had told him that the FBI had found this rifle behind the Grassy Knoll fence the day of the assassination.
So someone,
and then they fingerprinted it and traced it back to
Howard.
LA.
Yeah. That's crazy. I never heard about
any of the other reports at all.
Yeah, I've never heard anything
come up
like that.
any other time.
'Cause I like to try to do as deep dive as I can, and I like to think that I was pretty good at this stuff, but like, yeah, I've never.
Yeah, apparently not.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's supposed to be hidden. Like, it's not supposed to be known.
Yeah, of course.
And, yeah, and then going through a whole porn shop, and like there's like a paper trail, and like someone who worked at the porn shop is. I'm assuming that person is related to Ruth, right?
No,
Robert
they spelled
Payne.
the name different. They spelled the name different. His name was
just a coincidence.
Payne.
Oh.
To throw us off our tracks.
I want to talk a little bit about Ruby, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he was much more involved than people think. Do you believe? Because there's some anecdotal evidence. How do you say that word? Anecdotal. I have a speech impediment.
He put a Spanish accent on it.
This
is Jack Ruby, right?
Yeah.
The man who killed Lee Harvey Oswald. The first homicide to ever be broadcasted. Sorry. The first homicide to ever be broadcasted, right?
Yeah. So basically, you did it
I'm
again.
really sorry. Hold on a second, guys. Let me readjust.
And then move this wire above it so you don't keep bumping it. So basically with Ruby, there's some evidence that he was actually there at the assassination. There's a picture that shows somebody that looks sort of like him, but the thing goes that he supposedly told like a friend that, hey, come down with the Delancey Plaza with me. You're gonna see some fireworks. And so he went down there to watch the assassination.
Yeah, there's definitely a document that states that for sure. But you have this guy freaking everywhere. He was seen.
Literally
so
everywhere.
He was supposedly in the newspaper office, the Dallas Morning News, looking out the window. Then you have him down on the corner of Main Street, like you said, with another guy because he wanted to watch the fireworks. Then you have him supposedly caught in some photographs in front of the book depository where he allegedly gave Oswald a pistol.
Why would he need a pistol?
Supposedly at Parkland Hospital, not too long after that, okay, where he was seen by Seth Cantor, who was another reporter, a Dallas reporter.
Yeah, I heard someone said they saw Ruby down there too.
And
that's
then
crazy.
He supposedly was in the theater. There's witnesses that put Jack Ruby in the theater with Oswald when he got arrested.
Are all these witnesses Rosco? Because it sounds like he's out here taking professional photos.
Did you did you see the pictures of not Roscoe? Now you got me to say Roscoe. But did you see the pictures of Ruby sitting in the back of the police station press conference? He's actually in the group watching everything go on for hours, and then supposedly he was supposed to be outside.
Dude, yeah.
He was supposed to be outside. He just ran into somebody. He says, "Oh, I need money." He went to get money, and that's how he's like, you know what? I'm gonna kill this guy for the president's wife because how dare she have to go through all this pain in English? But he was there already, like sitting and watching him. There's pictures of him with the press, like sitting and waiting for Harvey Oswald to show up.
Impersonating a newsman. You know, he was asking questions and
cops knew him.
In the hallways.
He was like the big Gambino of the day. And with cops like, oh, hey, what's up, Ruby? Like, people knew him. And he was just walking around with immunity. That's how we got in there. People didn't care. Like, oh, it's just Ruby. He's not going to do shit.
Yeah, because he was like the local pimp. You know, he would let the cops come in and drink for free at his bar, bang his girls, and whatever, you know, to be on their good side. Then let him get away with literally murder, you know, being in all these places and where he shouldn't have been. And he was stalking Oswald from the moment he got arrested until he finally got, 2 days later, where he was able to get to him in the basement and shoot him in the stomach.
Yeah.
But he was
so they didn't really they didn't really have Jack Ruby in on excuse me. So just to follow what we're saying is that Lee Harvey Oswald was blamed for killing the president. But nobody told Jack Ruby this. So Jack Ruby thinks that he's literally an assassinator.
No.
And so Jack Ruby
I think Jack Ruby is supposed to come off as a bystander who's seeing the assassination, but there's some evidence that he was even with Tibbet, which was the officer who was killed by Oswald.
He got shot by Lee Harvey Oswald.
And that him, Tibbet, and Lee Harvey Oswald got in the Rambler with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's not her name.
What the
Ruth Payne.
Rest in peace.
It was her car, but allegedly there was a dark-skinned Latino driving it.
There's always a
These
Douglas Casino.
Cubans.
There's always a Cuban in there, bro.
Yo, when you said that, when you were like, yeah, there was these Cubans in the window, presumably Cubans, I'm like, y'all are racist.
I believe Castro because apparently Minnesota Governor Jesse the Body Ventura went and talked to Fidel against the American government's wishes. And so he asked about him, and he goes, no, that was the CIA. Why would I do that? That's instant. You're going to take me over and destroy me from the face of the earth. There's nothing I can do to stop America. Like, yeah, we stopped them to Bay of the Pigs, but if they threw all of their shit at us, we're not going to stop them. So for me to kill the president is instant death. I would have nothing to do with that. And I believe that because it's like, why would you're living over there plush. You got all that money. You're fucking ruling the world. Like, why would you ruin that? Maybe killing somebody.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. Yeah.
So then I want to get into, I guess the last thing for now, since we're running a little long, because we're usually a shorter one, but there's like so much good information with JFK. You know about what is it, MKUltra?
Oh yes, MKUltra. Yeah.
For those that don't know, it's a CIA program that used psychedelic drugs and other means to brainwash people.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who ran this program was a doctor who talked to Jack Ruby the day before he was supposed to testify in court. And then all of a sudden, Jack Ruby went crazy.
Yeah, Dr. Jolly West. That's who you're talking about.
Do you think
And
the CIA used MKUltra and the drugs against him to break him down?
absolutely. Because he was seeing all kinds of crazy shit. He was banging his head, on the
Yeah,
wall.
the Jewish guys, the
himself. He
Jewish
was
people
seeing
killing my brother.
Jews dying in fires of hell and all this other shit. And yeah, I definitely think
And
they sent this guy in there to fuck with him.
yeah, because no one else was allowed to talk to him. No one else was allowed. Why? So why is this CIA operative allowed to speak to him like, oh, I'm on his behalf? And then while in the conversation with this guy, Jack Ruby goes crazy and he's unfit to stand trial. But the day before this all happened, he told people like the truth is going to come out. I'm finally going to be able to tell you because I can't deal with this no more. Unless I'm mistaken, but that's basically what he said, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And this guy Jolly West, he went on to talk to Sirhan. You might know some of these people.
Sirhan was the killer of his brother,
Charles Manson. You heard of him?
Yeah.
These are all people he had contact with.
Timothy McVeigh.
Jack Ruby.
No. All right, so
No,
basically,
the
doctor who saw
MKUltra
Jake
doctor.
Ruby, he went in to talk to him, and right after he talked to him, he went crazy. But the doctor who saw him was running this program that used LSD and other drugs to break people mentally to make them say what they want them to say. So basically, it looks like Jack Ruby went crazy on this and wasn't fit to stand trial. But the same doctor went on and had handed with Timothy McVeigh, who did the Oklahoma bombing, Charles Manson, who did the murders, and what was that first one?
Sirhan.
Sirhan was the killer of his brother Robert. But even he says he didn't do it. He's like,
he didn't do it.
Even his family, like people, like even JFK, not JFK, Martin Luther King's people don't think he got killed away. Like all these deaths are really strange, and it really points to what people don't want to understand is a new world order, that the government is showing you what I think, low key, what I think this is all about is America is worse off than Korea. Korea is controlled by a man who lets them know what he wants them to know. As Americans, I think we're supposed to know certain things and not question it. And I don't think the country is actually run by the way they say they is. That's why I think people have problems with like Trump and stuff like that. It's because he was going against the grain. He's like, well, no, I don't need your money. I'm going to do things the way I want because I don't need you. And I'm not
That's true.
I'm not a
People
Trump
were
fan.
scared.
I know I talk about Trump a lot and Biden
You
a lot.
are a Trump fan.
I
We-
made money when Trump was president, and I don't have money now. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
But I'm a Democrat. I don't believe in everything that
It's weird. When
that
Trump
side.
was president, we were like, F this guy. And now that he's gone, we're like,
Come back, give me money. I need money.
Maybe he did have some good
Yep.
ideas. I don't know.
I just think he was
Well, see,
kind of
the thing-
badass.
The thing about Trump and JFK,
Yeah.
the common thread is they were independently wealthy
Yes.
coming into office.
Yep.
They didn't
Right.
have to rely on sucking this guy's dick over here and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's dick
JFK
over here.
JFK
and then
actually, his
he's in their
father's
back
made his money.
pocket,
Sorry, JFK made
you
his
know.
money with bootlegging. So JFK's
Yeah,
father
they had
made
fuck you money.
booze money when they
Oh,
can't.
okay.
Oh, we can't. It's America. We don't want to drink booze anymore. JFK's father was the one who was
Alright,
giving booze to
alright,
America.
alright, I'll fix with that.
Of course you are. You love the
If you
booze.
can get into the presidential office without being beholden to big pharma or
Some
you know,
lobbyists.
anything else like this, then they have no leverage over you as
Yeah.
president. You can pretty much do what you want.
I like that. It seems like a game. Becoming president is like a game. And
Well,
it's
I don't like that as an American citizen.
Well, you like it when
Yeah, well,
Trump
people like-
when Trump is a player, right?
No.
Because
No,
the
I don't.
monies-
I don't necessarily like Trump. I just like some of the things. Life was a little easier for me.
It definitely felt like Trump was giving us a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Even if he was maybe like has secrets or whatever.
There's so many jobs right now.
We were
but,
so
like,
close to a nuclear war. It wasn't even funny.
Well, who
Like,
knows?
I
We don't know what's going on because if
Nah,
we're saying
I
it's
don't
true that there's this new world order, Trump, Biden, Bush, Clinton,
It doesn't
nobody.
matter who-
yeah,
yeah,
it doesn't
it
matter
doesn't
because
matter who's the
there's a
face of it.
section of people who are controlling everything. And
Yeah,
if they say
that's true.
no, it's not time to blow those nukes yet. It's not time to blow those nukes yet.
Yeah, or it's time. Then it's time.
So on that note, I'm gonna add some background music to end the episode.
Oh, okay.
Right now you don't hear it, but it's like. I like to thank Rob for coming on from. Actually, why don't you tell us your name, where you're from, and where we can find you?
Yep, my name is Rob Clark, and I do the Lone Gunman podcast, and I also co-host Quick Hits podcast, the JFK News and Notes podcast with my buddy Doug Campbell. And you can listen pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. I think we got it just about everywhere, except maybe on Amazon. I don't know. I know Spotify, iTunes, all that jazz.
All the good ones.
That's crazy. I think about all the stuff we even talked about today, and to know that you have, because you have like 1,000 episodes, right? I think that was like 1,000 and change. You up to?
No. I'm up to 250 on the Lone Gunman,
250.
and we're up to like 50 on Quick Hits.
That's
so
still
about
a lot.
300
Okay.
altogether.
That's
We're-
still a lot.
honestly, we're definitely gonna tune in. We love the JFK's rabbit hole, and
I love
think
rabbit holes in
that-
general. Yeah, I think what we basically do is I said it last time and I liked it. We're weird and wonderful people talking about weird and wonderful things.
I think we call it strange and wonderful.
So we really appreciate you coming on. September is Suicide Prevention Month.
Mhm.
So if you really need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody.
Please talk to somebody.
Your family, your friends. You even got like people you can chat. They have texts, And honestly, with the way ChatGPT is going nowadays, if you're really feeling frustrated and you don't want anybody to know what you're thinking, talk to that motherfucker. 'Cause
That's
they'll
kind
go on
of sad.
forever.
That's kind of sad, though. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
new
maybe I
best
shouldn't
friend.
judge.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you need a friend,
Yeah.
you need a
Talk
friend.
to
like,
ChatGPT.
Name it Bob. We'll name it Bob.
Talk to ChatGPT or come talk to us at What Keeps Me Up Nightly SI.
What
we're
keeps
on
me up
Twitter.
What keeps me up SI on Twitter.
Sorry, What Keeps Me Up SI on Twitter.
What keeps me up nightly
What
on
Keeps Me Up Nightly
TikTok.
on TikTok.
and then Blue Sky on Facebook, but it's BLUE. Even though you
I'm
hate
probably gonna make a another.
that. I like
new
Blue. It makes you're
Facebook.
unique. Ah,
I want to take over Evidence Room. Actually, I want Evidence Room.
you want to go back to Evidence
back in
Room?
the rotation.
You-
I have way more friends on Evidence Room.
yeah, they were all spammers and bootleg.
Nah.
Like they
Not
want,
all of them.
They want me to look at booty pics, man. I know. I'm good.
So Sky was taking over the Facebook page for a while, and then he just never bothered. to
I
check
added
on
everybody.
spam or
I just
anything.
added everybody because I wanted followers.
So there's like a lot of weight loss, like spammers and stuff. It's
2,000
so
people we got
stupid.
following us on Evidence Room, but they're all fucking.
$5 sunglasses.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
But thank you again, Rob, for showing up.
Yeah, this was a lot of
Hey,
fun.
it's my pleasure.
I
I
love
was
talking to
excited
people,
when I heard we were gonna talk about JFK. I was so excited.
Yeah,
'Cause
Blue
it
was
was, like,
upset
a
because
really good one.
the last episode we did was with Terra Normal, and
I
we
couldn't be
couldn't
a
figure.
part of
Yeah,
it.
we couldn't figure out how she can hear. We had to. We actually got 2 headphones right now so she can hear you guys.
I bought a $3 pair of headphones.
I mean, it sounds like crap, but it works.
yeah,
And-
whatever works.
yeah.
And
We're definitely big on like using what you can to do, do what you can with what you
I
have.
thought that was a fat joke. I was like, damn, baby.
No, it's just like you have a million excuses not to do something. Just do what you can with what you got, and that's what we
That's
do
fair.
out here at 87.9 WKMU Radio.
And that, as always,
Please check on your friends, guys, always, and check on yourself. And we love you.
and everyone deserves love, even you.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.